issues that are facing the country right now.
You know, Tom Cole, this is obviously this is going to be the first showdown is going to be this issue of spending and the debt, and how it gets solved will determine then what else can get done. I mean, I think with that probably there'd be universal agreement. What do you want to hear from him tomorrow? As a Republican, as an American, I mean, what do you think is the right message for him?
Well, I think he needs to honestly transcend what he's done thus far. Look, he's a very significant person in American history already, not just because he's the first African-American, but he's got some big wins. He's got health care, had the stimulus, had Dodd-Frank. So, but all of those things have been done essentially with nothing but Democratic support. You're not going to have that in the second term. He comes in actually as a second-term president with a lower popular vote than he had the first time, fewer electoral votes, and weaker politically, quite frankly, because he came in with overwhelming Democratic majority. So for a second term to be successful, he's going to have to work with Republicans. And here I would recommend he look back at Bill Clinton, whose biggest accomplishments, we talk about welfare reform, most Democrats didn't vote for it. We talk about balancing the budget, most Democrats didn't vote for that either. He actually worked with Republican majorities to get things done, and I think there's going to have to be some of that, and I hope there's some discussion about that tomorrow.
Karen, we do know that the president is going to address this. Look, inaugurals are a time you call for some unity,
right?
But it's not going to be naive, I was told. You know, meaning, you know, it's going to be no, but there's going to be some reality to it. Sure. Sort of, look, we're going to have some heated political debates, but let's try and solve the big problems.
Well, of course. I mean, that was part of the message of the first time, but I think this time he has a clearer idea about how to do that, because obviously the first time, as we were saying, you come and you have all these big hopes and aspirations, and then you get beat up a little bit and you have a clear sense. But I want to just shift to another piece of the president's agenda that I think is very important. This president is also the president in a very unique point in history in terms of the cultural and demographic changes in this country, which is part of why immigration reform is going to be at the top of his agenda. The voting issues that we've seen in the last couple of elections, we know that's moving to the top of the agenda. A lot of work going to be done on that by the Attorney General. So I think, yes, the economy, very important, but even with, you know, when we talk about gun safety issues, we've focused on Newtown, but not so much that he has inner city. So there are other issues that he's got to focus on.
I hear you. But look at this word cloud. We asked, and this was a great thing, an open-ended question in our NBC Wall Street Journal poll. We said, what's a message you want to send to the president? And Doris, number one, create jobs. And we'll show you this cloud here. That was the most popular message to send. Number two, fix the economy. Number three, stop spending. Number four, compromise. Number five, great job. But those first two, boy, that's 20%, 1 in 5, something to do with the economy. And the economy is not better as far as people are concerned.
And it's not just that we've only recovered slowly from the financial recession. It's that the economy structurally is in problem. It's been in problem for several decades. The middle class is not doing what it used to be able to do. You can't be sure that your kid is going to do better than you did. But that's going to involve investments. The complication for him is that's going to be investments in the future, investments in education, investments in opportunity, maybe investments in keeping manufacturing here. But then there's the spending problem on the other side. So how do you manipulate that balance between Republicans who are going to be concerned about spending and Democrats, or the country that wants investments in the future? That's going to be a really hard leadership
Well, he's going to probably need more Tom Coles, Jonathan, right? to work with it among House Republicans.
There's not a lot of Tom Coles, though, in the House. I mean, a little bit. There's not a lot of Tom Coles in the House right now. But look, I think that this gets back to what I was saying earlier about how, yes, he's got a bit more running room than he had in January of 2009, but not that much more. There are two issues here, Chuck: the fiscal and financial issues, the debt ceiling, the automatic cuts. I won't say the S word. The automatic cuts that are set to go into effect here. Look, he's got to confront those issues, and then how is that going to impact gun control, immigration, the stuff that he wants to pursue, that he wants to really go after in 2013? But he's not going to have the capital to sort of do that until he gets a solution, some kind of a deal on these big fiscal issues hanging over the Congress. And that's going to be the real story of the first 6 months of his second term is, what do we do on the fiscal issues? Can he get some kind of a grand bargain? Are there enough Tom Coles in the Congress? And that's very much an open question.
Who does he negotiate with? You know, it's been, and you know, I know that people have given the president all sorts of advice. You know, you should work around the leadership. No, you need to spend more time with the leadership. You know, LBJ and Everett Dirksen got drunk together every night. So the story goes. Maybe not every night.
Well, bring the bourbon.
And maybe
I was there.
Yeah, okay. Was it every night? Oh, and that's not going to be Mitch McConnell, Barack Obama. Although Mitch does come from a bourbon state. But
I'm much more of a bourbon kind of guy. I can tell you.
But who does he negotiate with? I saw what Mitch McConnell's doing in Robo. Look, he's worried about his own reelection.
Sure.
And that's not easy if the guy you think you can do the best negotiating with has to worry about reelection.
Look, I don't think the president has much reach, honestly, into the Republican conference in either the House or the Senate. I mean, the reality is most of us won in places where he didn't win. So the idea he's going to mobilize public pressure against you and hurt you, I mean, the best thing could happen to me would be for the president to come in and campaign personally against me in my district politically. So he has to recognize.
Okay, that's good for you, but that's not good for the Republican Party now.
No, it's not, and I'm not advocating that, although, if the president wants to come, we'll be very... But, the reality is he doesn't have that kind of power. So I would argue he's going to have to do some things that he's uncomfortable with doing. Look, this is a guy that appointed a deficit reduction committee and then didn't support any of its recommendations. This is a guy who didn't vote to raise the debt ceiling when George Bush was president, but now is asking us to do that, and doing it in a way that's pretty provocative. So he wants me to do for him what he wouldn't do for a previous Republican president. Now, I think we're willing to work with him, but we hear a lot of rhetoric about spending cuts. Yeah. But the president needs to put in things like change CPI, raising the age, means testing, maybe looking at block granting Medicaid. Again, Bill Clinton is probably his best guide in this.
All right, I know you wanted to jump in here, Karen, but let me sneak a break in, and we're going to go a little bit more into the second-term agenda. We'll be right back.